At the time of recording this, it is 9:45 p.m., April 1st, 2026. Early this morning, I posted my April 2026 astrology guide, which included my April full moon in Libra predictions. It's 9:45, so it's been a day. It is the evening, nighttime. And I was very accurate. Very accurate. Let's talk about it. So, I said that this full moon would absolutely put a spotlight on the major imbalances that are no longer sustainable, personally, nationally, globally. And I said that there would be a collective acknowledgement of not just this, but how because of this, things have to change. That we would, at the bare minimum, see a collective acknowledgement of all of that. First of all, there has been international condemnation of the IOF's new death penalty for obvious reasons. By the way, Inglay and the IOB, go to the action items, please. There's also been international discourse over Trump's foreign policy and war on Iran, again, for obvious reasons. We're going to get more into that in a second. There's also been a lot of discourse about the recent Supreme Court ruling unbanning conversion therapy camps, again, for obvious reasons. Let's take a sip and take a breath. I'm almost out of tea because there's just too much tea to discuss. Anywho, Iran's president shared an open letter directly to the American people hours before Trump's national address, which absolutely centered around the imbalances of this war, of the effects this war has, who it really is for, the purpose of it, the true purpose of it. I'm going to read some poignant quotes. The Iranian people harbor no enmity toward other nations, including the people of America, Europe, or neighboring countries. Even in the face of repeated foreign interventions and pressures throughout their proud history, Iranians have consistently drawn a clear distinction between governments and the people they govern. The United States has concentrated the largest number of its forces, bases, and military capacities around Iran, a country that, at least since the founding of the United States, has never initiated a war. Relations between Iran and United States were not originally hostile, and early interactions between the Iranian and American people were not marred with hostility or tension. The turning point, however, was the 1953 coup d'etat, an illegal American intervention aimed at preventing the nationalization of Iran's own resources. That coup disrupted Iran's democratic process, reinstated dictatorship, and sowed deep distrust among Iranians toward U.S. policies. Yet all of these pressures have failed to weaken Iran. On the contrary, the country has grown stronger in many areas. At the same time, the destructive and inhumane impact of the sanctions, war, and aggression on the lives of the resilient Iranian people must not be underestimated. The continuation of military aggression and recent bombings profoundly affect people's lives, attitudes, and perspectives. This reflects a fundamental human truth. When war inflicts irreparable harm on lives, homes, cities, and futures, people will not remain indifferent towards those responsible. This raises a fundamental question. Exactly which of the American people's interests are truly being served by this war? This, of course, has sparked online discourse from people like you and me, who know who this war is really for. Quite literally, a collective acknowledgement of the imbalances which we are all struggling through. Because